Šuo ir jo trova. Šuo šaltą žiemą kantėdamas sako, kai tik vasara ateis, būtinai statysiu sau trovą. Negaliu, aš taip visas, žiemas šalti ir laukia ant sniego gulėti. Ir aš noriu turėti trovą kaip žmonės. Laba diena. Ar aš? Mano vardas Laura. Aš esu amerikietė. Bet aš gyvenu Lietuvoje. Aš kalbu angliškai ir ispaniškai. Bet dabar aš truputį kalbu lietuviškai.
Hi, I'm Laura. 11 years ago, my boyfriend Luke and I set off for a gap year that accidentally changed our lives. Since we left home in 2010, we have lived in New Zealand, Australia, South Korea, Mexico, and are now living in Lithuania. These videos are a small window into the adventures we seek along the way.
I've been studying Lithuanian now for about 2 months. I've been taking one lesson a week, since the start of February, and I feel like I'm really starting to put the pieces of the puzzle together, but like I said to my teacher, this is like a 10,000 piece puzzle, and I can see whereabouts in the puzzle the pieces go, but I can't exactly, they all look the same, you know? It's like when you try to do the sky or the grass or a tree, like there's a lot of pieces to the puzzle of Lithuanian. We'll carry on with this metaphor, but I'm really enjoying it. It's a language that is really challenging in a lot of ways because it's unlike other languages I've tried to learn. But I think, like with any thing you're trying to learn when you're an adult, especially languages, the sooner you start to accept that it is the way that it is. You can't make it like English, you can't make it like Spanish, you can't make it like any other language. It's this language. It's a really fun way to learn about the culture of Lithuania. I think language speaks hugely to a culture, and I think in a country where you're the only country in the world that speaks that language, the culture and the language are so intertwined. So that's part of why I wanted to learn Lithuanian. I think I'll start with that. Why am I learning Lithuanian? For those of you that don't know, I moved to Lithuania in July of last year, and my boyfriend and I came here, he got a job here, we were living in Mexico before, and I work remotely, so I came along for the journey, and I was really excited to learn about a country that I really knew nothing about, to be able to explore it, and I have spent quite a lot of time traveling around Lithuania, and it's so beautiful, but just like any country, there's parts of it that you can't access, and especially not without the language. So I'm really keen to learn more Lithuanian. My first goal I've achieved, I'd like to say, was to be able to have a bit more confidence going to markets, especially the one here in Utena where I live, but also in the supermarket, to go up to the butcher or the fish counter and to feel confident enough, not just with the words that I've had to memorize, but the pronunciation, and also not being too afraid of like what they're going to say back and not being able to understand that. So yeah, I've passed that hurdle. I get sausages from the butcher and they're delicious. And it was it felt like a real milestone. So I like to set these small goals. So I've achieved that one, but there's still a long way to go because I don't know the names of any of the types of fish or different types of meat besides, you know, the obvious jautiena, kauliena, and vištiena. There's a lot more to learn besides beef, pork, and chicken. My next sort of goal is to be able to have small conversations. So at the start of this video, I was able to tell you where I'm from, where I live, what languages I speak, and that I'm speaking a little bit of Lithuanian, but that's really the extent of my casual conversation. I can't really have small talk yet, and I'm looking forward to being able to do that because for me, that's gonna be a really big part of when I travel around Lithuania and being able to get to know more about things at restaurants or the history. There's a lot of places like this, but in Lithuania, if you go to one of the museums, you have this huge paragraph for each thing in Lithuanian, and then in English it's like sword. So it would be cool to be able to at least pick up some of the vocabulary of what I'm reading about and what is happening in these museums and the history places. And yeah, it's just a goal that I have, and one of the main reasons that I wanted to learn Lithuanian in the first place. So I would love to be able to commit a little bit more time to studying Lithuanian. At the minute, I'm taking 1 half-an-hour lesson a week. There is homework usually, so there's maybe another half an hour again throughout the week. And I have been using Anki app to study the vocabulary, but I haven't been able to devote as much time as I would have liked at the moment, but I'm hoping maybe in the summertime it's going to be a little bit easier and I will be able to maybe add another lesson in during the week. I love having a lesson for me. I'm not that self-motivated and unless someone is waiting for me, I think I mentioned this in the last video, I'm probably not going to do it. So I need that sort of accountability, and it has been great. I really feel like I've learned so much. I have a long way to go, but that's with any language. I think people are going to ask me or make comments about how Lithuanian is so hard and all that sort of stuff. And I don't want to decry the fact that it is a complicated language. But I feel like it's very rule-based, and I think that makes it easier than, for instance, like the sort of lots of irregular things that happen in English and Spanish. Of course, Lithuanian also has irregular things, but it seems like less so, at least in the sort of introductory version of the language that I'm working with right now. I have a lot more to learn about it. I'm really excited. The next video in regards to learning Lithuanian, I am going to test out my conversation skills. So you're holding me to it, to my next goal. I'm going to take you guys out and about in Lithuania, hopefully in a slightly more rural place where they won't be able to just switch to English. So yeah, I've got some travels towards the end of April around this beautiful country, and I'm so excited. I'm excited that the days are longer. We've got light until after 8 o'clock at the minute, and it's just gonna get longer and warmer, hopefully. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you're curious about learning Lithuanian or any of the information that I've talked about in this video, let me know in the comments below. I'd love to know your kind thoughts on how my pronunciation is in reading this. I think it's like a children's stories and stuff. It's still far beyond my vocabulary, but I like reading it out loud because I like to practice the pronunciation. I've mentioned this in the last video, but one of the things I find most difficult about Lithuanian is the intonation and the emphasis on the words. I seem to be getting them quite wrong. It's just not that natural yet, but it will come. I will start listening more, I think, to podcasts and to Lithuanian on the internet, on YouTube and stuff, on LRT, and hopefully it will start to, I'll get the cadence, I'll get the rhythm of the language soon, and it'll all come with time. But I'm having a really good time learning the language. I think it's super interesting. I feel like, I think I mentioned this, but like every Lithuanian lesson is like a cultural lesson as well. Like I'm not just learning about the language, I'm learning about like the deeper essence of Lithuania, and that's pretty cool. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. It really supports my channel, and I will see you next time. Bye.